Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. Yeah. You are now tuned into the Matthew and Rizzle show. Yeah. Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. Yeah. You are now tuned into the Matthew and Rizzle show. Yeah. Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. You are now tuned into the Matthew and Rizzle show. Yeah. Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. You are now tuned into the Matthew and Rizzle show. Yeah.
Hey everyone, before we begin this week's episode of the Matthew and Rizzle Show, just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Proof of Beauty. Proof of Beauty is an experimental digital experience studio. The blockchain is their canvas and the tokens are their brush. You can learn more about Proof of Beauty by checking out pob.studio. You can follow them on Twitter as well at PRRF Beauty. That's PRRF Beauty on Twitter and pob.studio on their homepage to learn more about their projects like Hash, London, and Publico. Thank you and enjoy the show.
All right. This is Rizzle, sort of taking over the Matt and Rizzle show for Matt, who is traveling somewhere in Europe, I believe, with Paradox and Miss Al Simpson. So hi to them. Really stoked to be here with an old friend of ours, Love Handlz, who has been on the show before with his own project and has now brought us a really cool project that he's involved with called Ocean Defenders, which is doing a lot of really positive things and entering the crypto NFT space. It sounds like by way of Love Handlz. So Love Handlz, man, I would love for you to sort of maybe give like a brief intro of yourself, your involvement in the space, and then how we came upon Ocean Defenders. And then we got Jeremy, Paula, and Susi all in the house from Ocean Defenders ready to give us the deal here. So Love Handlz, man, talk to us.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm really stoked to be back on the show. Thank you for having me, Rizzle. And I've been in the space for a while. It all started back in late 2017 when one of the first booms were happening. It was when just the big three were on Coinbase, and there was speculation about XRP possibly becoming on the platform and all the excitement around that one. And then there was the bust. And that was before I got into NFTs. And as Rizzle mentioned, I had my own project. It's called Skatecoin, and I minted a coin, but I didn't really know what to do with that coin because that was back in 2018. Then I discovered NFTs and started going down that rabbit hole, which led me to the Cent platform. And that's where I met Rizzle and Matthew and all the dope OGs there, and started learning how to do NFTs and minting skateboarders around my decentralized skateboarding project. And that led to some other things when I got into marble cards. And we started doing the Crypto Bum project, where I put a wallet on a marble card and ask people to donate it with a homeless man holding up a sign. I put the QR code, and if you scan the QR code, you can donate directly to the card. And that started getting a little bit of traction, not much, but we raised like a 0.6 Ether, which wasn't much at the time, but then, everything crashed, but then everything blew up again after that. And when I went back into the wallet, there was like $600 in there, which isn't a great deal of money, but it's definitely enough to feed some people. So I wanted to keep my promises, and I filled up my Jeep with some food and went to Los Angeles and fed about 60 people. And that was like, everyone was kind of stoked on it. And Rizzle had hit me up and said, "That's really cool what you did. Let's do a better one." And so we collabed, right? We collabed with a lot of money, rest in peace. And he did some dope ass art and sold a bunch of, we raised about $10,000 to $12,000 in a few hours. And we realized we had way too much money, right, for just one dude to be passing around food. So I did hit a few cities. I hit San Francisco, went back to LA, Venice Beach, a couple other ones. But we started passing around the ether to different projects. Rare Pizzas got some. They were doing some homeless stuff. MetaJacks with their Feed the Need program, we donated to them. And yeah, through the networking, we fed a whole bunch of people and did a lot of good. And that kind of led to where we are now. And as far as Ocean Defenders, they're part of the Dot Gems studio, and I'm the community manager there. And Martin, the art director, reached out and asked if I would like to get involved. And when I found out what they were doing, which is helping save the oceans and clean it up and raise awareness, to the youth through their collection it was a no-brainer to me. So that's how I got involved with that.
Awesome, man. I mean, you've got a track record, as you just laid out, for really involving yourself with projects that do a lot for the community, a lot for a lot of communities. So I'm stoked to hear about Ocean Defenders. Like I said, we got 3 people in the house. Jeremy was immediately like, I'm ready to talk about all things Ocean Defenders. So why don't we just go around right here? And Jeremy, if you want to kick us off and just sort of tell us briefly about yourself and how you came involved in Ocean Defenders, and maybe just like an overview, if that's cool. I'm not sure if you're necessarily the best person to do the overview, but would love to just get a bird's eye view on exactly what Ocean Defenders is and everyone's involvement here.
Well, thanks for having me on the show. I mean, the overview is probably best served by Paula. This is her opus, all the things that she's kind of worked so hard to kind of put together. I'm a character in the Ocean Defenders, known as Mr. Ocean, and a little background on me is several years ago when I was way younger, I was involved in having building a lot of technical things in Dallas, Texas, and so we were actually one of the first dedicated internet providers, and it was a wild ride from that point forward. Then I had a company of my own, started focusing on art, and it's pretty crazy because as I was doing a lot of underwater photography, I was noticing that everywhere I went there was pollution, and I felt like, man, this is so crazy. It's like, why doesn't somebody do something about this? Why is it that we have this problem of just everywhere you go, there's just like massive amounts of plastic everywhere? And then I kind of analyzed what it was that I was saying, and I realized that in that conversation to myself that I was saying, well, I wish someone could do something, not thinking that person could be me. And so it was at that point I really started focusing on, artwork and how we can actually create awareness around the ocean. Because I think that art has this really amazing thing, which, especially with this project in particular, we can get here and we can talk about the threats facing the ocean, but it doesn't necessarily give us a feeling. Art for centuries has been the communicating tool of our souls, and artists have often created things to make people feel, right? And it's the one thing that we have that continues to make us what we are, by pure definition as human. So, I really kind of focused on that, and then, you'll hear from Susie here in a minute, but Susie and I kind of paired up, and we were like, well, what if we got people to stop talking about the things that need to be done and actually start doing the things? And so for the last 4 years or so, we've been meeting on Necker Island in the British Virgin Islands with a little event that we call Ultramarine. And it's about putting everyone together, so that's kind of like the big overview of like who I am. But I really feel like at the core, it's about making the unseen seen. And when we look at the threats that are facing the ocean, sometimes people don't even realize. I mean, legislators and lawmakers, they know that some of those problems exist, but because they're not really there, they don't have their head in the water, they don't really see how massive the problem is. And this doesn't, this is not isolated just to plastic pollution, but we're tackling all things, chemical weapons that have been left in the ocean, conventional weapons, deep sea mining, the list goes on. And as Nainoa Thompson once said, Nainoa is, for those of you who don't know, is an amazing celestial navigator and the founder of the Polynesian Voyaging Society. He says, there's about 8 billion people here on the planet, and all of what's wrong with the planet is the fact that 8 billion people have been making the wrong decisions every single day. And where we're at is a summation of all those decisions. But what would the world be like if we made the right decisions? I got pulled into this with Paula. She's like, hey, it'd be really cool if we had like a comic book strip. Like, it would be really rad if we had people who were not just characters in a comic book, but but it was based on the likeness of people who are actively trying to make a difference and bringing communities together to do something positive. And so when she pitched the idea to me, I was like, I don't know, this seems kind of cool, but how does it go? And then when I started seeing some of the artwork that came back down, I was like, oh, this is so rad, because, it fits kind of like this, really, I mean, all of us like love superheroes. Like, there's not one person that doesn't love superheroes, but, I feel like in a certain instance, like, we all have a certain superpower, and by joining on this, like, really cool, comic strip, then we get to see our superpowers, in action, and hopefully it leads to some really positive results as it relates to the oceans. I mean, just to give the audience, just kind of a measure of the urgency, we really need to protect, as a start, 30% of the world's oceans by 2030. We've been saying that for a while. The truth is we really need 50%. But 30% is a really good start, and that's the magic number where the ocean starts to regenerate. And if we could realize how to kind of, help people feel the importance of the ocean and what it means to protect it, so that we get to 2030 and we protect it enough so that we can have enough food for the rest of, foreseeable future, then I think that's the mission. But it's not just food; it's the phytoplankton, it's breathing. I mean, all the things. So anyway, I'm rambling, but yeah, I'm really stoked to be part of this. I mean, again, this is Paula's, this is her brainchild. This is what she's been working on. And I'm really here just to help support and share some, ocean knowledge along the way. And, I'm glad to be included.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, thanks, Jeremy, for always being there. Jeremy, I've always been very inspired by the work that he's done ever since I met him. So the Ocean Defenders started with me and Susie. We're professional kite surfers. We love comics. We love gaming and all things like that. So we're like, why don't we make superheroes out of ourselves and just inspire the children to not just protect the ocean, but also get into the water. Since we grew up in the coast, we feel that we have this innate personality to care deeply for the ocean. But how do we inspire the people that don't live near the ocean? And then I had the opportunity to meet Jeremy in one of those discussions and meetings, and I was just so inspired by the work that he's doing. And I was like, wow, this person has to be an ocean defender. So we created Jeremy McCain, Mr. Ocean, who lives in the metaverse, because I have learned so much just with sitting with Jeremy for 30 minutes, all about underwater munitions, all about whales. So it's just very inspiring. And yeah, that's the whole point, to get the children to understand, okay, we have Spider-Man, we have Superman, but this is not really real work that real people are doing. And if the kids just know what humans are capable of, they can become ocean defenders in their own right, in their own way. So that's one of the big things. And I'm just so happy that Jeremy has always been there. And he was actually the first person that told me and got me into NFTs. He's like, Paula, I know how to do this. We're gonna create NFTs out of the Ocean Defender comic strips. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So it was in the middle of the pandemic, and he was just like, let's do this. And he sent me a bunch of links that I needed to study. And then I was like, in the middle of the night, I was like, Jeremy, how do I do this? My first wallet was because of Jeremy. I have a crypto wallet because of Mr. Ocean right here. And yeah, it just opened the whole, before we were knocking on the doors of we wanted to be with a publishing company. We wanted to do this, but then it seems like people or companies were not ready at that time to accept what we were trying to do. And the crypto and NFT space just gave that feeling that we can do this by ourselves.
So awesome. It's funny, as y'all were talking, as soon as Jeremy said actually that he was a superhero in the comic or whatever, I was like, I want to be a superhero in the comic. How do I become a superhero?
Bingo.
And the answer is do more stuff for the ocean. And that, if I'm understanding you right, that's basically the message that you're trying to portray to kids and people who, you know, aren't in it, which I think is a consumer education thing. Like you were saying, if you're not like in the ocean looking at it, it's easy to not think about it. So this is cool. You know, Susie, I would love to hear your background and involvement in the project.
Yeah, I mean, you just nailed it right there, because that's literally what I thought the first time we talked about ocean defenders, and what every single person has told us. It's like, wait, but I want to be an ocean defender. And that's exactly the point. And the message is like, guess what? You are an ocean defender. You can be an ocean defender just by doing tiny little things in your life that help the ocean. So I really love that. I love that naturally happened on this recording. So my name's Susie Mai. I'm a professional kite surfer. I was born in Germany, but my family moved to the Dominican Republic when I was 6 years old. So, you know, grew up the beach island girl life and became a professional kiteboarder when I was around 18 years old. The sport didn't really exist before that. So, you know, I feel like Paula and I both got into it pretty early on in the game.
You got a bunch of like NFT tech crypto people, like for someone who has no idea what kiteboarding is, give someone like a real basic
absolutely.
thing.
So kiteboarding is a super cool sport that consists of you being pulled across the water by flying a kite, and you can be on a wakeboard style board or like a surfboard. It can be done on lakes, rivers, you know, all the coastlines in the world have had kite surfers on them. And it's just a cool new sport that sort of evolved, originated here on Maui, where I currently live, and, you know, has kind of evolved in the last 20 years, I would say. It didn't really exist before. And it's just one of those things that combines adrenaline. It's very brainy as well. So it's become a very big sort of deal in the tech world. I mean, all of the techies kite surf, just because, you know, at one point Forbes wrote an article saying, is kiteboarding
what is kite surf? You're making me want. I am not a techie who kite surfs, but you're making me want to.
It's really, really fun because it just has that element of like, if you're into anything aerodynamics or, you know, cool. You have to trim the kite a little, but you're also, then it's very natural as well because you're connected with the elements. You know, you're riding the ocean, which has its own mind. You're constantly having to watch the weather, watch the wind, and the feeling that you get when all of those things come together in the right way is just, it's untoppable. Like, you know, we fly 50, 70 feet through the air. It's quiet. There's no motor, no engines. It's a magical, beautiful sport. And the other big thing that people love about it is that because it's kind of like the multitasking kind of thing, you really need to use your entire brain. And so a lot of people find that, especially high functioning individuals, tech entrepreneurs, you know, people with just a lot of brain stuff going on, they find that they can really switch off because you have to leave your phone on the beach, right? Starts there. And it's not like riding a bike. You can't just put your head down and pedal. Like, you have to watch what the waves are doing. You're going to eat it if you don't look at the chop and you just, you know, stick your nose into a piece of chop. And if you're not watching your kite, it might fall into the sky. So people just find it so engaging. That, you know, people get pretty hooked on it. So you guys should definitely come to Maui and come learn to kite surf because it's the best thing. It's the best thing ever. And so, you know, being a passionate kite surfer, as you think, maybe I think you might be able to tell, it's obviously driven me to love the ocean, in a very unique way. I mean, for me, it's my playground. It was my boardroom business, you know, for a long time. And there's just a very special relationship, I think, that you gain with the ocean when you're in it that much. And that's really what got me started also on the whole ocean advocacy train. So I've been an activist for over 10 years. And definitely at the beginning, it felt pretty lonely. But I was also one of the few people that were traveling to all these remote coastlines and seeing, similar to Jeremy, I was seeing plastic pollution on the beaches that, you know, had labels on them from other countries. And I'm like, wow, how did this plastic get here? And then, of course, it snowballs a little bit and you look into the problem and you're like, wow, we're actually really doing some real damage here, you know, because you kind of think, oh, yeah, throw it in the ocean, it's going to disappear. Well, it actually doesn't. We know that plastic and all these other types of things that we throw in the ocean don't decompose. They're not biomaterial. So, you know, they end up being down there for thousands of years. And so I was just like, you know, I can do something about this. And similar to Jeremy, when we ended up meeting 5 years ago, I had gotten tired of just going to meetings and going to conferences and stuff being said, but stuff not really being done. So when I met Jeremy, who I felt like was my spirit animal and was just so like-minded, we just said, hey, let's just do something. Let's call it the Ocean Action Summit. And let's just get people together who want to do something for the ocean and not just talk about it. And that's where Ultramarine was born. So Jeremy and I have, I think he mentioned it earlier, we're entering our 5th year. We've done 4 events, kind of, started just before the pandemic. So that threw a little spanner in it, but managed to keep it alive. And, now that pandemic is loosening up, we're definitely back on. So we've done 4 events on Necker Island with Sir Richard Branson and a bunch of amazing ocean people. And the whole point for Ultramarine is to bring together people from all types of walks of life. Everybody gets a seat at the table. We believe that we equally need, people like scientists, entrepreneurs, investors, people working on solutions. We just need everybody at the table. And, I guess Ocean Defenders kind of spawned out of Ultramarine's community in a very natural way, because Paula and I did say, I think it was like 5 years ago, we came up with Ocean Defenders. And as she mentioned, it really didn't really have a home in a way. We're like, these comics are cool. The ideas are cool. They're science-based with real life characters that inspire people, so that you're not just it's obviously, a superhero tale, but you can Google the characters and you can look up the storylines. And we're actually, trying to stay on top of current problems. Like if there's a new oil spill somewhere, we'll try to cover that with an Ocean Defenders comic. But we just had these comics, and as Paula mentioned, we're trying to figure out where to go with these. And then suddenly the NFT space, came onto the scene, and here it is, a perfect place for us to do this. And, as Jeremy mentioned, I'm just really excited to be part of it and, to be one of the co-founders with Paula. But it really, all the kudos do have to go to her, because as she said before, she was the one that ended up sitting down and reading all the freaking articles and getting technical with it. And so, whereas I was just kind of off kite surfing, she went and did the homework.
Good.
Well, for me, it's just like me and Susie has been fortunate enough to be invited at all these conferences to talk about our life and our connection with the ocean. But then me, coming from my background, I was an island girl. I didn't know much about what the other people are doing. I felt so dumb. And I had to feel that I had to read through all the texts, all the technical stuff that I kind of need to know in order to talk to people. But they're so boring. It's really if I want my 15-year-old me, or even my 36-year-old now me, to actually understand it, this has to be more simple and more fun. And and me and Susie, I grew up in Asia. I love Pokemon cards. I love all these Sailor Moon things. I grew up around that. I'm surfing because of a TV show that I watched in Nickelodeon when I was 10. So that really spawned out from there. And if we just know, if we can activate learning about this current situations that we have in the ocean in a fun way, that we're going to get more engagement from people. And just Rizzle, you are an ocean defender yourself. And if you say I want to be an ocean defender, and okay, this is what you can do to become an ocean defender, gamifying the whole process while incentivizing you with just having a card or an avatar is just great. And if you get to become part of the comic strips, how cool is that?
Yes.
Of course.
And that's really, I think, where NFTs give us such a unique opportunity to create community around all this stuff, because the ultimate solution is going to come from everyone working together on the problem. And Jeremy and I have been saying that over and over. And it's just so cool to see how strong NFT communities are. And even just to funnel a little bit of that energy, not even just the financial, because it's obviously a great monetary tool as well, but just the energy and the awareness, just funneling that sense of community that people feel around certain NFT communities, that funneling that into ocean protection, I think that's where it's going to be at.
I would love to. I mean, the big picture is amazing. I mean, clearly your entire team is extremely passionate and knowledgeable about the cause. It's obvious why y'all get pulled into conferences, because it just comes across as so genuine. You know how passionate y'all are about what you're doing. Put all the pieces together for me. So I understand the comic. I love the Ocean Defender concept. What, I guess, is the actual layout of the project? How does it work with the NFTs? Like, how is the whole thing, the nuts and bolts actually like woven together into like the crypto space? Because it's interesting. Y'all are like a very established project, like outside of the crypto NFT space. And I feel like a lot of people have been trying to sort of do the reverse. They enter in with like a launch or an NFT or a currency or something, and then sort of build around that. But y'all are like, obviously very well established, and are now, integrating this into what you're already doing. So yeah, would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah. So basically, one time I was in an NFT tips like session in Clubhouse, and I just went on stage and asked for help on like, we have a comic strip and this is what we want to do. And then Martin from Dot Gems messaged me on Instagram and said like, hey, this is what I'm doing. I think there's great synergy and we should get on a call. And it's actually really me and Martin that he introduced me into the Wax platform and Atomic Hubs and the Dot Gems, and they've been doing a few games and trading cards that was so fun and inspiring for me that, okay, why don't we, what should we do with the characters? So why don't we create like a pack, like a trading card game pack where users can get and buy the NFTs in a pack, and then they can collect them, and they can go in specific games with the cards that are in there. So aside from collecting that, you'll learn what each of the cards is doing. For example, you get a Jeremy, Mr. Ocean card, and then you'll have a link on the things that he's doing for the ocean, and you have the capacity to, of course, donate and volunteer or see where that goes. And then there's also the Fragments, which is basically a puzzle game where you can collect these fragments and you can build the puzzle of the Ocean Defender strips that we already have. And when you build that, it's going to start to animate, and then you're going to see like, oh, okay, there's a story that, yeah, there's underwater munitions in Molokini that none of us really know about. And then we also have these cards that are like booster cards, which you can read about it. It's based on real life solutions that we have now in the planet. So when we drop the cards, we plan to have like a battle or a threat. Like we're gonna put out a threat every so often and say like, oh, for example, there's dolphins that is stuck in the nets, or there's an oil spill in this part of the ocean, and we want the users to come together and defeat that threat. So then the community is like, okay, so how then we defeat this threat? It's basically an online trading card game that involves a lot of education about what's really happening, and the solutions are there because, like, Susie, what we've known is that the solutions are there. It's just about how we're going to get there and how we link it. And we don't want just like scientists and technical people to know about it, because as an individual, there's things that you can do. You can change your choices with the stuff that you eat. You can change your daily habits on like which clothes you buy, and then all these other things. So yeah, it's that's how I think we can engage the crypto NFT space through this trading card game that a lot of people are so into, like not just the trading card games, but also just like play to earn games. And for us, what we're really trying to do is, instead of a play to earn, is a play to save. So cool. It's just, yeah. And
there are some super cool projects like, different DAOs and ocean related NFT things, which we're obviously all plugging into, which is super cool. And yeah, just hoping that the trading card game, gets people excited and gets people thinking about it. So like, which, you have some solutions for an oil spill, which one are you going to use? And like, actually think about this stuff, as well as obviously, hoping that the value of the NFTs themselves go up. And as we I don't want to give too much away, but we're definitely entering our next phase of adding a whole new round of characters to the lineup. We have some pretty amazing people that we can, tease on a little bit, I guess. Dr. Sylvia Earle, I don't know if you've heard of her, but she's considered, her deepness is kind of her nickname. She's a human on Earth with the most dives. She's been diving since she's 17. She's like 80 years old at this point. Wow. She's literally the witness, if anyone, how the oceans changed in the last 50 years. And she's just one of these, she's one of the elder cards. What are we calling them, Paula? Sorry, I keep forgetting.
Guardians of
the Guardians. So we have, these elders that come in as the Guardian cards that are going to be sort of rare collectible cards as well. And we have some characters based on people like her, and some of our other friends. We've had Sir Richard Branson join some of our events, as well as some of the other really amazing people like Brock Pierce, who's, big in crypto, but also actually a very, very big activist for the planet, recently joined the roster. So we're pretty excited about the next steps and introducing a whole new set of characters for World Oceans Day, which is June 8th, and is also the date on which we plan to drop our first Ocean Defender NFTs. So we're having a big party in New York. If you want to find out more about that, it's a free party that you can attend, and it's ultramarineocean.com. And you can be part of sort of like our sneak preview and then the grand release of the first line of NFTs.
I really love the concept. Like, honestly, I like the Ocean Defender concept with the comic strips, like in itself. And I am guilty of assuming that you guys were just going to essentially like mint the comic strips or like, essentially use the NFTs as a fundraiser, like which is what, there's nothing wrong with that. It's what a lot of like, good social causes are already established, have come into the space and done. But y'all are doing some like really interesting, innovative, like types of stuff with this card game and everything y'all are rolling out, which is awesome. And honestly, like really, really refreshing to see an established, I don't know if you consider yourselves a company, whatever you are, that's
community,
like doing some good in the
say.
world. Enter the space, enter the NFT scene, like very, very thoughtfully and with like a genuinely cool concept. Love Handlz, is this where you come in, man? Like what exactly is your like involvement in this whole situation? I know you're deep into the wax
He's the glue.
So you must have your hand in this part somehow.
Yeah, definitely. He's on the handle. Yeah. As I was saying earlier, Martin, he hired me to be the wax community manager. And when he approached me to see if I wanted to jump on this project, after hearing about everything they're doing, it was definitely something that I would be interested in. And it's going to be dropping on Nifty Blocks. Like we said, hopefully we hit the deadline of Ocean Day. And we'll start dropping the first series, or the first set. And like they said, there'll be multiple different cards, different rarities you guys can collect. And some rare ones with the Defenders and the Guardians. Basically, it's just kind of like to raise awareness with the youth and give them kind of like a play to save concept to where they can collect and get more information about the Defenders and what they do. And like they were saying, everyone's a defender, right? If you love the ocean, or if you love Earth in general, you're definitely going to want to have something to do with this. And raising awareness is really a great way to start. And there'll be information on the different cards and different ways you can help, right? You can hit the link and see who's involved and possibly contact them and see how you can get involved as an individual and slowly raise awareness with everybody. And hopefully we can get a few, 100 million people that would definitely want to be an ocean defender, right? We're everywhere. And little by little, everyone does their part. As I like to say in crypto, it's all about strength in numbers. And just like the whole giving aspect, let's give back to the ocean, right? Let's give back to Mother Earth and start doing our part. Everybody grab a bucket and start help cleaning this mess up that we actually created, unwillingly and unknowingly. But everyone has a hand in it. So everyone could have a hand in actually solving the problem as well.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be like big things, like what we have to think about is that all of us, even our own small actions at home, and this is where all the solutions and education comes in. It's like, oh, I can't do that. You think that, oh, I can't save the forest or whatever. But then, the little stuff that you do at home, you can do something. So that's where we really want to tap into, like create an army of ocean defenders. And not just big things, but all the little things. And all the little things together make a big thing.
Paula, Susie, are you guys ocean defenders? And if so, what are your defender names?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, so my ocean defender name is Ultramarine. And I believe Paula is Radheart.
Yes.
But, some people have ocean defender names. Some people are just themselves. Cool. I believe the Guardians are going to be themselves. And we do want to open this up at some point. I mean, it's just like Paula said, it would be fun to get to the point where we can say, hey, everybody gets a little comic strip, or you can just, with all the randomization going on, I believe that maybe one step further is we actually make everyone an Ocean Defender comic. I mean, I would love to see that. I also think that the crypto generation is really, as Love Handlz put it so perfectly, they're the ones that know how to do something as a group really well, right? Everyone knows how to use tech. Everyone understands like, oh, if we all do this together, it works. Because that's the whole basic crypto. And I just really believe in this generation, particularly just the types of brains that are in crypto space to have a big hand in helping solve the problem.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. Sorry, Paul, go ahead.
Oh, that's fine. I wasn't going to say anything. I was waiting for you. You can ask more questions.
Sure. So one of the things we always like to ask our guests on the show, and Love Handlz is familiar with, we'll let you go last, man. I know you're like an NFT hoarder, much like myself and a lot of us. But Susie, Paula, would be very interested to know, like, do either of you have messed around with any of these other NFT games? Do you collect NFTs? Are there other projects that may not necessarily be related to yours that you just, happen to think are really cool?
I can go first. Yeah. I have a Wax wallet. I love that platform so much. Like, everyone's like, why are you in Wax? I'm like, guys, you don't understand. Like Street Fighter.
I grew up with Street Fighter.
I have... seriously. My first NFT was a Chun-Li NFT, and I still have it. Last year, I went as Chun-Li for Halloween. I'm just, so into it. I have 3 Axie. How do I call that?
Axie Infinity, mostly.
Yeah. So the Philippines is the biggest Axie Infinity community, right?
Yep.
So I have 3, which was gifted to me for my birthday. And my brother is actually the one playing for me because that's what he does. He just, I think he has a scholar group and he's playing with my 3 Jolly Axie NFTs. And what else do I have? I like Alien Worlds. That's also cool. I got inspired with the cards when I first saw it, and now it's just more like doing a lot of the Ocean Defender stuff and seeing like, oh, okay, that can happen, that can work. So it's so inspirational seeing all these other things going on there. What else? That's about it for me. How about you, Suze?
Yeah, I mean, I love all the NFTs that are ocean related, right? So one of the ones that I came across recently is the Ocean Collective. They did a bunch of, I think they're doing the Museum of Extinction, and they're doing the rarest, also very unknown animals. And they're doing like a cool mini video clip where you just like see like a sword, like there's like a crazy manta ray that has like literally a saw in front of it. I forget the name of it. But they're just doing like Museum of Extinction was a cool one that I liked recently. They're just doing cool stuff. And, one day we might only see some of these things in the virtual world. So, I love that one. But I just, I've just kind of been following Jeremy and Paula around the NFT world.
Awesome.
Well, Jeremy has some really great projects. Like he
does his own NFTs.
Yes, he did one with a Bit Mangrove. I don't know if you guys have
it's called Bit Mangrove.
Yeah.
And he does it's like a representation of a mangrove, but with ones and zeros, like black screen on it with green ones and zeros, like super old school. And then he displays it on like the original Mac computer, like the first ever.
Oh, cool.
Super old school looking. So it's just like this weird mangrove green thing that spins around inside the screen, which is really cool. So yeah, he does his own NFT stuff as well. And obviously, we love all the ones that raise a little bit of cash for the ocean and for projects. Like, for example, this mangrove NFT is raising money for mangroves being planted. And, those are just, I guess, the more traditional ways of using NFTs for ocean conservation. But like you said before, they also work really well.
Yeah. No, very cool. Jeremy didn't actually know we were recording today. We just wrangled him on at the last minute, so he had a hard stop and had to hop off. We're not just ignoring him, but it sounds like Jeremy's got his hand in a lot of really awesome things. Love Handlz, man, would love to hear. I know you're constantly involved in a lot of things, man. What's on your radar and what have you got your hands in these days?
Yeah, I just dropped the second issue of the Metazine, which is a skateboard-related magazine where you can look through the pictures and click on the different pictures of the skaters, and then I would actually lead you to the actual drop of the NFT. So I dropped that recently, and right now I'm concentrating on this Ocean Defender project, which is it's really got me inspired. I can't wait to get this going and start doing all the different collabs we're going to do and blends and all the gamifications that's going to be taking place revolving around this. As they mentioned, there's some high profile people that are going to be involved. So we'll definitely be introducing them soon. And I can't just wait to start getting this out to the world. Like I said, strength in numbers, raising awareness. And if you can gamify, saving the ocean, I think it's a really great start to do this. And as far as NFTs go, man, you already know me on Wax, man. I got all that stuff as far as, like Paula said, Street Fighter. I was one of the first ones that really made me want to come to Wax. Garbage Pail Kids was hands down the first one that got me addicted to Wax. But when Street Fighter dropped, that's when I was still kind of on both chains. I was still working a little bit on the ETH and trying to figure out how to drop my stuff on Ethereum, but with the gas fees and the different things going on there, I went over to Wax because it's free transactions and stuff like that. So when I saw Street Fighter pop up, I was like, dude, I want my skateboard cards next to Street Fighter, right? And next to Garbage Pail Kids. It's like my childhood dream. Holy shit, my skateboard stuff is you can trade it for a Garbage Pail Kid. What the hell? So that's definitely got me, access with the big brands, Godzilla, Street Fighter, Garbage Pail Kids, baseball cards they started dropping. And the sky's the limit, man. They got all kinds of stuff on there. So yeah, Wax has got me hooked. And of course I got tons of marble cards. That's my first love there. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. It was really, really great to have you on. I really want to be an ocean defender, but I can't compete with that 80-year-old lady who's been diving forever. I'm willing to, clean up a beach or something, but I can't. I need to be the 20th edition round of defenders or something.
Yeah. We definitely like to get the skaters involved as well, maybe a land-based defenders. Cleaning the beach.
Land-based ocean defenders.
And also, even other sports, when we go around and talk about the ocean defenders, we have kayakers, we have snowboarders. They're like, sure, how do we become ocean defenders? I'm like, well, life on land is directly affecting life on the ocean. So definitely there's space for everyone. And that's what we want. We want everyone to be involved. We want to create an army. And everyone has to be part of the army.
Awesome. Before we sign off, make sure we hit the listeners with all the links, the dates, the sites, whatever everyone needs to know to, pick up a defender and, keep in touch with all the things you guys have going on.
Yeah, we'll be dropping on the Wax blockchain. You can find it on Atomic Hub and the Nifty Blocks platform. That's the marketplace. We'll be dropping on Ocean Day. That's our goal. And Yeah, guys, give it a peep. We'll definitely start doing some promotions and stuff. So if you're into wax and you're into, my Twitter, you guys can follow that. And there'll definitely be a bunch of links there, some giveaways coming soon. And yeah, maybe Paula can finish up and let us know everything, the details.
So we have a website too, theoceandefenders.com. Of course, we're going to be in wax. We're going to be in Nifty Blocks. We have an Instagram account, The Ocean Defenders. We have a Twitter account, Defenders_Ocean. And of course, we're also directly linked to the ultramarine ocean. And like Susie said, we're going to have a physical event in New York for World Oceans Week. So we're really excited for that. And we're going to drop the first pieces right there, and hope you guys can join us. Susie?
Yeah, we're excited. We're taking over a warehouse in Brooklyn, and we're going to have a super fun sort of sunset cocktail afternoon with music, surprise guests, and of course the main feature, just dropping the NFTs for Ocean Defenders. So that's going to be a fun one. You can find info about that on ultramarine.ocean.com, and it's on June 9th.
Amazing.
Awesome. Yeah.
Well, thank you all so much for joining us. I think our listeners are going to really be interested in this project. So everyone, please check out the stuff that they just mentioned. And Susie, Paula, Love Handlz, Jeremy, who is here but may listen on the re-listen. Really appreciate y'all hanging out and recording this episode. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rizzle. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having us. This has been so fun.
What's up, man?
Yeah. Shout out, man. All right. Thanks, y'all.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening to this week's episode. Just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Proof of Beauty. Proof of Beauty is an experimental digital experience studio. The blockchain is their canvas, and the tokens are their brush. You can learn more about Proof of Beauty by checking out pob.studio. You can follow them on Twitter as well at PRRF Beauty. That's PRRF Beauty on Twitter, and POB.studio on their homepage to learn more about their projects like Hash, London, and Publico. Thank you, and see you in the next episode.